Hi, I'm Kurt Gowdy for Baseball's Greatest Hits. You know, baseball's over 100 years old, but the first World Series was played in 1903 when the Red Sox beat the Pirates. The next year, the New York Giants won the National League pennant, but their fiery manager, John McGraw, refused to recognize the younger league's champions. However, the fans let out a mighty uproar, compelling McGraw to give in. And when the Giants repeated as National League champs in 1905, well, the World Series was on its way.
The year was 1905. McGraw's Giants versus Connie Mack's Philadelphia Athletics. Fans jammed the old Polo Grounds in New York, their imagination stirred by this new event on the American scene, a baseball World Series. Before game time, McGraw paraded his Giants in horseless carriages, symbolic of the team's distinction. And that was soon followed by another pregame treat from the mischievous Giant manager. McGraw ordered the raising of a flag which read, New York Giants, 1904 World Champions. But when play began, the performance of New York pitcher Christy Mathewson topped it all. Mathewson hurled 3 shutout victories, a feat that's never been equaled, and he thus became the first player to completely dominate a World Series, leading the Giants to a championship in 1905. The series quickly proved to be a showcase for some and an embarrassment for others. On the right is Ty Cobb, owner of the best lifetime batting average in history. In the 1909 series, Cobb's Tigers squared off against the Pittsburgh Pirates, led by the great Honus Wagner. The Pirates won thanks to Wagner's .333 hitting and 6 stolen bases, while Cobb batted only .231 with just 2 steals. Some stars sparkled, some went into hiding, but Babe Ruth outshone all others in October. As a young left-handed pitcher with the Boston Red Sox, he established a long-standing mark with 29 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings. And as a hitter for the New York Yankees, he rewrote the World Series record books. All told, Ruth helped lead teams to 7 world championships. No one so successfully combined fact and legend as did the Babe. And this is demonstrated by the tale of his called shot in the 1932 World Series. This is his version.
I'll never forget, it was a tough series. Both clubs riding each other, doing everything to get each other's goat. Well, I was this one particular time when I went to bat, Charlie Root was pitching. And the first pitch ball was a called strike. Well, I thought it was outside and didn't like it very much. So the boys over there would give me this, on you. Well, the second pitch ball was another called strike. Well, I didn't like that one either, so I let it go by. Well, I stepped out of the box, and by that time, they were over there going crazy. Well, I looked out at center field, and I pointed. I said, I'm going to hit the next pitch ball right past the flagpole. Well, the good Lord must have been with me.
Some claim the Babe's memory played a few tricks on him. If it did, he'll be forgiven. The Bambino stood out beyond conventional proportions. Quite simply, he was the greatest of them all. No bat ever dominated series play like the Babe's, but no glove ever dominated one single series like Brooks Robinson's. Robinson was brilliant in the 1970 World Series against Cincinnati. His .429 hitting alone would have earned him the series MVP award. But it was Robinson's glove that really had the fans on their feet. The big red machine hit everything his way, and Brooks made it all disappear. The 70 series soon became known as the Brooks Robinson Show. The runner was safe, watch the replay. It only appeared as if the play was impossible. The Orioles took the Big Red Machine in 5 games, but it was the dazzling magic of Brooks Robinson that is best remembered. Cardinal ace Bob Gibson was an intimidating force in the series. He won 3 games in '67, and against the Tigers in '68, he did something incredible. Sandy Koufax had set a series strikeout record with 15, but Gibson went him 1 better with 16. And then 2 better with 17. Only 2 short of the most strikeouts ever in a 9-inning game. Sometimes it takes the attention of a World Series to bring a man his proper due. Such is the case with Roberto Clemente, Pittsburgh's outstanding right fielder. Clemente's skills often were overlooked because he didn't try to hit the long ball. But in the 1971 series against Baltimore, he hit the long ball and did everything else as well. At the age of 37, Clemente rallied Pittsburgh to a 7-game series victory. And because a whole nation saw him play, superstar status was finally accorded Clemente.
Sometimes a player can use a great World Series performance to vault from obscurity to fame. In the 1954 World Series, there were 2 heroes, one a star, one an unknown. The star was Willie Mays.
The Indians were threatening in the 8th inning of the first game as slugger Vic Wertz blasted a 460-foot rocket to dead center, and Willie's incredible play made World Series history. But it was Dusty Rhodes, a utility man, who really stole the hearts of Giants fans. In the same game, he pinch hit in the 10th with the score tied 2-2. It's just over the fence for a game-winning homer. Willie Mays did a dance, and fans cheered a Cinderella team. Rhodes collected 2 other key pinch hits that helped the Giants pull off a surprising sweep of the mighty Indians. Another unlikely hero was Larry Sherry of Los Angeles. In 1959, the Dodgers were surprising pennant winners, and Sherry a surprising World Series star as a rookie relief pitcher, saving 2 ball games and winning the other 2, as the Dodgers beat the White Sox in 6. Baltimore's Mo Drabowski, another little-known relief pitcher, was the talk of the 1966 World Series. In the opening game, he pitched out of a bases-loaded jam and went on to set a World Series record for a reliever by striking out 11. Drabowski got Baltimore rolling, and they took the Dodgers in 4 straight games. Until the 1972 World Series, Gene Tennis was a virtually unknown catcher for Oakland. But in the first inning of the first game, Tennis became known in a hurry with a home run against the Cincinnati Reds. And he followed with another homer in his next at-bat. The A's managed a big upset over the Reds, and Tennis was the hero, with 4 home runs altogether in the series. Many names of small repute have been briefly illuminated by the October limelight. But the 1947 series is remembered almost exclusively for names that never played Major League Baseball afterwards. One made his entrance against Joe DiMaggio in the 6th game, the Dodgers' Al Gianfrido, whose breathtaking catch saved 3 runs. Gianfrido's grab preserved an 8-6 Brooklyn victory, but it was the last time he'd ever touch a baseball as a major leaguer. Even deeper irony had already occurred in the 4th game when Yankee pitcher Bill Bevins had a surprising encounter with baseball immortality.
You're a little nervous on the day of the game. You've been waiting a lifetime to get into something like this. I knew I'd probably never get another opportunity.
Going into the 9th inning, Bill Bevins is on the brink of the unthinkable. The first no-hitter in World Series history.
Perillo came up and I got a little careless and walked him on a pitch I almost threw away. It made me a little sick to my stomach putting a runner on. The next batter was Jorgensen, and when he popped out to first base, that made it 2 away. Reeser came up, and Gianfrido went in to run for Farillo. I was 2-1 on Reeser when Gianfrido stole second, so we decided to walk Reeser. We put the winning run on first to set up a force play. I knew they'd send Cookie Lavagetto up to pinch hit. I watched him hit before and had instructions on how to pitch him. I pitched him where I wanted to, high and fast. Now I had a strike. I thought I'd waste a pitch, but he didn't give me a chance to go that far. When he hit that ball, I felt empty. I was backing up the plate when that second run come in. I realized I'd lost the ball game. First you lose a no-hitter, and then you turn around and lose the ball game. DiMaggio came up beside me and said, "Tough luck, Bill." I guess that's about all you can say.
Neither Bevins nor Lavagetto played big league ball again.
Many times, one play can change the outcome of an entire series. Back in 1939, the critical play came to be known as Ernie Lombardi's Big Snooze.
In the 10th inning of Game 3 between the Yankees and the Reds, Joe DiMaggio lashes a single to right, scoring 1 run, and when the ball is bobbled, Charlie Keller comes around to score another. All this time, DiMaggio never stops, all the way around to score with a brilliant slide past Day's catcher, Ernie Lombardi. The Reds argued, but lost the argument, the game, and the series in 4 straight. In 1941, the Yankees were involved in more mischief. It appeared that Brooklyn had evened the series when Tommy Henrich fanned for the final out. But catcher Mickey Owen lost the ball. Henrich raced to first, and Yankee hopes were still alive. The unexpected jolt was quickly followed by the roar of Yankee bats. Brooklyn watched in shock as the Yanks scored 4 runs to take the game and eventually the series. Lightning struck again in St. Louis at Sportsman's Park in the 1946 series. Only this time it was a treat for the hometown crowd. The Cardinals and the Red Sox played a great series that year and were tied 3-3 in the 7th game when Enos Slaughter led off with a base hit in the bottom of the 8th. With 2 outs, the next batter is Harry Walker. On the pitch, Slaughter takes off as Walker rips a hit to left center. Now watch Slaughter. He just never stopped running. Slaughter's mad dash for home. Legend has it that Slaughter scored from first on a single, but Walker in fact hit a double, and Slaughter was running on the pitch. No matter, the Cardinals were the champs, and Slaughter the hero. 1969 looked like the year of the birds, Baltimore Orioles, that is, until New York's Miracle Mets started to display their own signs of magic, and they needed some of that magic in Game 5. Trailing 3-0 in the 6th, New York's Cleon Jones skipped out of the way of a low and close pitch. Jones claimed the ball had hit him on the foot. The umpire said no, but the Mets manager, Gil Hodges, calmly got the ball and displayed the evidence. A smear of shoe polish. Jones was awarded first base, and it was the break New York needed to unlock the game. The next batter, Don Clendenin, followed with a home run. And so the Mets overtook the Orioles and went on to win the championship in one of the World Series' greatest upsets. In 1934, the series nearly got out of hand, and with the St. Louis Cardinal Gas House Gang involved, it's not surprising. Team captain Leo DeRocher describes it all.
Ball players don't come scrappier than Pepper Martin and Ducky Medrick, more talented than Dizzy Dean, tougher than manager Frankie Fritz. In the 1934 World Series, we took on Detroit, Gas House style, no holds barred. They used to say that we'd knock over our grandmothers to get an extra base. In the fifth game, Dizzy Dean went into second base standing up to make sure Martin wasn't doubled at first. The first thing Dizzy said when he came to was, "Did they get Pepper?" What the Gas House gang lacked in talent, they made up in guts. In the last game, we were winning 9-0, but still Medvick started a fight sliding into third. Medvick got back to the outfield, the Detroit fans were ready for him. They threw everything they could lay their hands on. I don't even know where they got half the stuff. Kennesaw Mountain Landis was commissioner of baseball, and the old judge called Frisch and Medvick over. He asked Ducky if he had kicked the Tiger third baseman. Medvick said, "Yeah, but that's the way I always slide." Judge Landis ordered Medvick out of the game, but not for biting. He was the only man ever thrown out of a World Series for his own protection.
This is the house that Ruth built. In 1923, Yankee Stadium was an arena designed for the spectacular, and the spectacular soon became commonplace. Owner Jacob Ruppert and manager Miller Huggins initiated the Yankee dynasty, along with Babe Ruth. The Babe led the Bombers to their first World Championship in 1923 with 3 homers. But it wasn't until the Iron Horse Lou Gehrig appeared that the Yanks started to dominate the Fall Classic. In the 1928 series, Gehrig and Ruth combined for 7 homers and 13 RBIs, compared to only 1 homer and 9 RBIs for the entire Cardinal team. Of course, those were the years of the famed Murderers Row lineup, considered the greatest of all time. These Bombers won the 1927 and the 1928 World Series, sweeping both sets. Joe McCarthy took over as manager in the 1930s and surmounted Connie Mack's league dominance with help from Lou Gehrig. Pitchers like Lefty Gomez, and outfielders like Tommy Henrich, Charlie Keller, and Joe DiMaggio. The Yankee Clipper led the team to 4 straight world titles between 1936 and 1939 with power, speed, and elegance. Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio. It seemed impossible that such a heritage could continue. But Casey Stengel, named manager in 1949, had other ideas. His hiring was greeted with laughter by many, but it was Stengel who turned the joke on opposing managers in the World Series. Casey entertained them all during his 12-year reign, the most successful of any manager in history. But it didn't come easily. In 1949, it was Tommy Henrich who came through with his homer in the bottom of the 9th of the first game, paving the way to Casey's first series victory. One year later, Joe DiMaggio, his great talents fading, hit this dramatic homer in the 10th inning off Robin Roberts to win another thriller. While DiMaggio was on his way out, Mickey Mantle picked up the gauntlet. The Oklahoman could run like the wind and hit rockets like a howitzer. Before he was finished, Mantle surpassed many of Ruth's records, including most series homers and RBIs. Yogi Berra is another Yankee who made the series his playpen, especially in the late innings. Yogi holds a host of October records, including most games and hits. And it was Yogi who provided the backbone for a Yankee pitching staff that was very imposing in the early 50s. Whitey Ford was the last to join that stellar pitching staff, and the only one who endured into the 60s. He too piled up the series records: most wins, most games, and most consecutive scoreless innings pitched. Casey didn't like to work Whitey very hard, only when he had games that had to be won. In the series, Whitey enjoyed doing just that. Finally, Billy Martin. This heads-up play and a pop that nobody wanted in the 52 series was typical of Martin's aggressive style. Casey's favorite, Billy the Kid, hit only .257 lifetime, but in the 53 World Series he batted .500 and contributed this ninth-inning hit that won the final game. These Yankees really had something to celebrate then. A record 5 consecutive World Championships, and as the old professor would say, you can look it up.
No World Series had a more dramatic conclusion than that of 1960 between the Pirates and Yankees. Powerful Yankees played true to form. As a team, they batted .338 and scored 55 runs. But the Pirates came out on top.
But Pittsburgh's spirit never died. Despite losing 3 games by lopsided scores, the Bucks won 3 other close encounters, bringing it all down to the last game. 8th inning, Yanks leading 7-4. Then this. Shortstop Tony Kubek was hurt, struck by a ball that appeared to be a routine double play grounder. Casey Stengel seemed to sense the worst. The ball had come at a shortstop with malevolent intent. Casey called for a change of pitchers in what few realized would be his last game as a Yankee manager. The Pirates scored 2 to make it 7-6. But now it was up to pitcher Jim Coates and batter Hal Smith, a part-time catcher who had played for 5 teams in 9 years. Smith shocked New York with a 3-run homer, and the Pirates led 9-7. Quieted the crowd in the top of the 9th by tying the score at 9 each. Now it was sudden death going to the bottom of the 9th. Ralph Perry pitching to Bill Mazeroski, famed as a great second baseman and now as a home run hitter. Had won what has been called the most exciting World Series ever played, and Mazeroski's homer may go down as the most famous round tripper in series history. But without that bad hop or that traveling man Hal Smith, this unforgettable scene would never have happened.